What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a dynamic middleweight championship bout that took place October 23rd, 1962, against two outstanding two-fisted punchers, Gene Foreman, West Jordan, Utah, and Dick Tiger from Nigeria. Dick Tiger would be middleweight and light heavyweight champion of the world. Gene Foreman would win that middleweight championship strap more than once. Fantastic middleweight. And I'll tell you, these two gentlemen put on some fight. It was Fight of the Year of 1962. Let's take a look at this fight. Gene Foreman, NBA middleweight champion, born July 21st, 1931 in West Jordan, Utah. As you can see here, he began his professional debut in 1951. But let's take a look at his vital statistics. He was 32 years of age at the time of that fight, 160 pounds, stood 5 foot 8 inches, and had a 69-inch reach advantage. As you look at Dick Tiger, he was number one contender, born August 15, 1929 in Nigeria. Let's take a look at his vital statistics. 33 years of age, 160 pounds, 5 foot 8 inches, so that's even, and 70.5-inch reach. So he had an 1.5-inch advantage on Gene Foreman. Now, Gene Foreman, as you can see here in 1951, a string of knockouts. He would only go the distance twice that year. Garth Panther, a very good fighter, September 25th, Salt Lake City, and he would go 10 rounds with him. And then he would go 10 rounds with Rudy Denzel. October 10th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he would go 6 rounds with him. The rest knockouts. 1952, he would have 2 fights that year. He would go the distance once. Armando Cotero, Hollywood, California. That fight would take place September 20th, 1952, and he would go 6 rounds with him. And then in 1953, he would enlist in the U.S. Army. 1954, he would have a good year. In 1955, he would lose 1 fight to Gil Turner in Brooklyn, New York. April 4th, 1955, he would lose to him in 10 rounds, but then he would have a return go June 20th with Gil Turner, Salt Lake City, and he would defeat him in 10 rounds. Then we had 2 more losses that year. September 28th, Bobby Boyd, Chicago, Illinois, he would lose to him in 10 rounds. And November 25th, Eduardo Lassi, very good fighter, New York, he would lose to him in 10 rounds. 1957, January 2nd, Ray Robinson, New York. He would defeat him in 15 rounds for the World Middleweight Championship bout. January 28th, Wilfred Greed from Canada, Salt Lake City. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. February 18th, Ernie Durando, very tough puncher, was Ernie Durando. Denver, Colorado. He would defeat him in 10 rounds, but then he would have a return go with Ray Robinson May 1st in Chicago, but things would be different. It was for the middleweight championship bout, and he would be knocked out in 5 rounds, and I'll tell you, that was a knockout. Here you have Ray Robinson showing Gene Foreman the left hook. He's showing it to him. This is one of the best left hooks in middleweight history. Ray Robinson, sweet victory. Gene Foreman was trying to collect himself. And this knockout reminded me of Mike Tyson when he hit Trevor Berbick with a beautiful short left hook uppercut. And Gene Foreman, or I should say Trevor Berbick, would do the same dance as Gene Foreman. It's like a chicken getting his head cut off. His body's still moving around, but there's no head to guide him in the direction he needs to go. And that's what was happening with Gene Foreman. Foreman would get in there with Ralph Tiger Jones. June 7th, Chicago, Illinois, and we defeat him in 10 rounds. September 4th, he would face Chico Vijar in West Jordan, Utah, defeat him in 10 rounds. November 15th, Neil Rivers, New York, defeat him in 10 rounds. Neil Rivers was a pretty good fighter himself. 1958, March 3rd, Milo Savage, Salt Lake City. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. Milo Savage, another good fighter. Carmen Basilio will be another opponent of Gene Foreman. Now with the Carmen Basilio fight is where the NBA strap came from. It was vacated by Sugar Ray Robinson. Robinson went up to face Joey Maxim. Gene Foreman will then challenge Joey Giardello. Giardello was a fantastic Philadelphia middleweight. (1960). So December 3rd, Ray Robinson, Los Angeles, 15-round draw. Most people and observers felt that Ray Robinson won that fight. That was for the NBA Middleweight Championship bout, 1961. He would face Ray Robinson again, March 4th. Defeat him in 15 rounds. August 5th, Florentino Fernandez. He would defeat him in 15 rounds for the NBA Middleweight Championship bout. I'll tell you, Florentino Fernandez was some fighter. December 9th, Benny Kid Perrette, Las Vegas. He would knock him out in 10 rounds for the NBA Middleweight Championship strap. Now, let me tell you, Benny Kid Perrette, this is when Gene Foreman put the beating on him because he didn't appreciate the way Benny Kid Perrette was what they call horseplay. And he took it to him. And then in 62, that was in 61, 62 was when Benny Kid Perrette had faced Emil Griffith. And as you can see here, Sugar Ray Robinson was towards the end of his career, but he was still a dynamic fighter. And he put that hook on Gene Foreman's chin, I'll tell you. Fantastic fighter, Sugar Ray Robinson, even in his later years. Begin back to Dick Tiger, 1952, 1955. Tiger had 22 fights during his period, winning 20 of 9 knockouts. 1956, he loses his first 3 fights. He loses a 4th fight, so he lost 4 fights in 1956. 1957, he would lose 1 fight. That would be to Willie Armstrong. July 15th, 1957. Lost to him in 8 rounds. But he would continue on. He would lose 1 fight in 1958, and that would be to Spider Webb, June 24th in London. He would lose to him in 10 rounds. Yolande Pompey would be Archie Moore's. I think he would have 1 more fight after Yolande Pompey in London. October 14th was when Dick Tiger fought him. But Yolande Pompey did fight Archie Moore. Then Archie Moore would face Tony Anthony and then give up that strap and challenge in 56 Floyd Patterson for the heavyweight championship strap that was vacated by Rocky Marciano. 1959, March 19th, Randy Sandy, Liverpool. He would lose to him in 10 rounds. He would lose to Roy Calhoun. July 17th of 59. He would lose to these gentlemen in 10 rounds. He would also lose to Joey Giardello, who I showed you, in 10 rounds, November 4th of 1959. He would face Harley Mims December 30th. Harley Mims was a very good fighter. (1960) Gene Armstrong, February 24th, Chicago. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. April 1st, he would have a 10-round victory over Victor Salazar. June 22nd, Wilfie Grieve. He would face him twice, June 22nd and November 30th. Edmonton. This is where Wilfred Reed was from, Canada. He would defeat him in 10 and he would lose to him. He would lose to him in 15 and defeat him in 9 rounds. 1961, Gene Armstrong. February 18th, New York. He would knock him out in 9 rounds. April 15th, Spider Webb, New York. He would knock him out in 6 rounds. May 15th, Hank Casey, New Orleans. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. And December 16th, Billy Pickett, New York. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. He would have 2 fights in 1962. January 20th, Florentino Fernandez, Miami Beach, Florida. He would knock him out in 6 rounds. And March 31st, Henry Hank, New York. And he would defeat him in 10 rounds. It was a fascinating series with these gentlemen. Let's take a look at the World Boxing ratings at that year. Now, this is always fun. This is the World Boxing ratings, the World Boxing Association. So, September 25th, 1962, Sonny Liston wins the title from Floyd Patterson. This was Illinois, and he would be the heavyweight championship, title holder at that time. Floyd Patterson, New York, number 1 ranked at that point. And you had Ingemar Johansson ranked number 3, Cassius Clay ranked number 2, Doug Jones was number 5. Light heavyweight, you would have Harold Johnson, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He would become the light heavyweight champion. Last title defense, June 23rd, 1962. Middleweights, Dick Tiger, Nigeria. Last title defense, February 23rd, 1962. Gene Foreman would be ranked number 1. Now, what I'm showing you here is when Dick Tiger had defeated Gene Foreman in that match that we talked about. This is in 62. Georgie Benton was ranked number 2. Terry Downs, number 3. Ruben Carter, number 4. Joey Archer was number 5. Joey Giardello was number 6. Paul Pender, number 7. Laszlo Papp, number 8. Ray Robinson, number 10. Now, if you look at the world rankings, let's go over to the world rankings. Liston is the champion. Let's go down to the middleweight. Dick Tiger was the champion. Ranked number 19 at this point was Ray Robinson in New York. Florentino Fernandez, Cuba. He was number 12. Gene Foreman was number 1. Paul Pender, number 2. Georgie Benton was number 3. Now, Georgie Benton was just number 2 in the WBA. But he's number 3 worldwide. Fascinating. As you see here, Fighter of the Year was Gene Foreman. Now, as you can see here, this is a program that I have. And they're fighting for the WBA. Now, that NBA had converted to the WBA at this point, 1962. World Middleweight Championship bout. The official souvenir program, Gene Foreman versus Dick Tiger. At Candlestick Park, San Francisco, California, October 23rd, 1962. It was presented by the Golden Gate Boxing Club. They were the co-promoters for that particular fight. So anytime you look at my videos, I always show you receipts. And this is exactly what happened. So you now have the WBA, that's what they're fighting for, and it's been WBA since. Goodbye, NBA. But I'll tell you, this is one of the greatest middleweight fights of all time. Now here you have the world's middleweight champion, Gene Foreman. This is their first fight. Gene Foreman was some fighter, I will tell you. And the thing about Gene Foreman, as they say, style makes fights. That's an old cliche. But Gene Foreman would take it to you in any era. It doesn't matter what era it was. If it was fighting today, it would be the same thing. Gene Foreman was just one of them fighters that would take it to you. He would have a cross-arm defense. He would bull in. He had, as you can see here, high cheekbones. He didn't care who he fought. Unbelievable fighter was Gene Foreman. And Dick Tiger was the British middleweight champion. Again, this is back October 23rd, 1962. Big Dick Tiger was some fighter. He would defeat Joey Giardello. He would move up to the light heavyweight division. He would defeat Jose Torres. And he'd be knocked out in championship fashion by Bob Foster. Fascinating fighter. Beautiful fighter was Bob Foster. Here you have Gene Foreman and Joey Giardello. Great fighters. And as you can see here, Gene Foreman and Carmen Basilio. This fight right here was a war. And you're going to have that when you have two fighters that put it on the line. Similar styles, similar attitudes, similar reasons for being in there. Salute to Gene Foreman. Salute to Dick Tiger. Came around at a time you couldn't shy away or back away from a fight. You were challenged, you fought, got paid, went home. Simple as that. And you were in there for a reason. The Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series saying thank you for hanging in there with me. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute.